Who, me? I'm the ghost with the most when it comes to domestic hygiene. Lydia's house has been infested by spooks and spirits. Who better to get rid of them than the ghost with the most? You start in the main hall and can make your way up the various staircases or into any of the rooms with the aim of taking out any otherworldly being that crops up. Beetlejuice does this by firing a magic spell at them. Looking at the main hub of the house from its side-on cross-section shows a ton of doors and stairways like something out of Hogwarts. Annoyingly, these stairs piss about with you as well, but rather than leading you to some creepy corridor on the 3rd floor, the steps will turn into a slide in that good old Scooby-Doo fashion, which causes you to plummet back down, often skidding uncontrollably into the path of some ghost or monster. The stairwells on the main screen proved my first big difficulty. You can't walk up them, but have to jump, and at first it seemed so sporadic whether or not they would collapse. It frequently took me many attempts just to climb the stairs until I realized you need to figure out which steps to jump on. Only some of them trigger the slide to appear. How are you supposed to know that when there's no telegraph to point out the trick ones? Those are the side-facing ones. The front-facing staircases are even more annoying as what looks like rolls of loft insulation get lobbed down at you as you're climbing, leaving very little time or space to dodge. There is a pattern, but it feels just like the tacked-on difficulty that LJN loved getting their dev teams to include. The sort of sub-levels to the house take place in these rooms accessed by the many doors you come across. Here, each room of the house and the furniture therein has been invaded by 1 or 2 spectres, and Beetlejuice's job is to clear them out. The first door you come to is the laundry room, whereby various drying articles of clothing are possessed by a pair of ghosties, one who flies about and another who sort of jumps. You need to shoot down stockings, shirts, underpants, that sort of thing, until they're all destroyed, followed by the 2 ghosts themselves. Then, the master demon who was hiding in the washing machine comes out, and you'll have to take him down. Beat the room, and you return to the main hallway to climb up higher into the house. You'll then have to exorcise Engoulied silverware in a similar manner. These multi-round fights are pretty cool, but were that the whole experience, it'd be somewhat dull. Fortunately, not all the rooms are like this. There's a rather humorous mini-game where you have to stop a randomly fluctuating face in as horribly contorted a manner as possible to get a grossness rating. There's no skill to it, you just press A to stop each facial feature. The higher your score, the more of an advantage you have in this one-on-one mini-game against an owl where you have to fill a meter by pressing the correct direction shown on screen. There's also a pipe connecting game where you get 60 seconds to stop a goblin thing from flooding the bathroom. The end of the haunted house segment of the game features a rather clever part where you have to coax these 2 ghosts who are haunting the attic to their doom. The bedsheet-covered monster needs to be cajoled into various candles until he dies, and this thing that looks like a horse chestnut with legs needs to be encased in chests. This bit's good fun, if a little shonky, with the enemy movements not always going as you'd think. Sadly, this represents the high point of the game, and it's rapidly downhill from here. The next part is not too bad, you've just got to move these numbered statues around onto their plinths, nothing challenging or interesting really. After that though, prepare to hate the game. We were so close, LJN, but you couldn't resist putting in a horribly unfair death trap section, could ya? You're in a minecart for a lot of it, other times riding bubbles or a snake pogo stick. Your health bar of 5 points is still there, but everything is now a one-hit kill, so there's really no point in it. And oh boy, there's a ton of stuff lying around to kill you. Your jumps and movements have to be nailed on perfect, else you die. What happens when you die? You go back, of course. What ensues is a 10-minute period demanding pixel-perfect precision with every one of your inputs to get through. Trust me, 5 lives is not going to be enough. Some of the chat between Beetlejuice and Lydia are very odd in that way Michael Keaton made famous, just without the swears obviously, and it adds to the comedic nature of the game. Notorious as LJN are for making horrible 8-bit movie/TV show tie-ins, their graphical accomplishments are often overlooked. That's totally fair though. If the game's horrible to play, who cares what it looks like? Still, Beetlejuice, like many of their Game Boy productions so far, looks rather good. Every pixel is dedicated to something or other, and the backgrounds are ever changing. There's a couple of lovely little polishes, a mirror in the living room that actually shows your reflection as you move past it, some parallax-ish scrolling of the moon with respect to the cliff tops, all sorts of little visual treats if you stop to look. The music is a little odd for the theme, being a bit too up-tempo, but then I'm not overly familiar with the cartoon, and I imagine it was a little more kid-friendly. So, production-wise, Beetlejuice for Game Boy is respectable. Hell, it's actually fun in a lot of places. Could it be that teaming up with the guys who brought us Battletoads was a recipe for LJN to create a half-decent tie-in game? That's actually the perfect way to describe it. Half of it is decent, half bloody horrible. Oh well, that makes a change from being a complete failure.